subscribe, and drift with us. The train is already moving. It was moving before you settled onto the berth, before you pulled the rough wool blanket up to your shoulder, before you turned your head toward the window and watched the last lights of the platform slide backward into the dark. You do not know how long it has been moving. You do not need to know. The motion is established, steady, and it belongs to the train now, not to you, not to anything you need to attend to. The berth holds you. It is narrow, and the mattress beneath you is firm in the way of train mattresses, padded but not soft, functional rather than luxurious, designed for the business of holding a body still for many hours without complaint. There is something in this simplicity that is comfortable. The firmness beneath you makes the blanket above feel softer than it is. The narrowness of the berth makes the warmth concentrate. You're not lost in this space. You are contained in it. The blanket is wool, or something close to wool. Slightly rough, slightly heavy, the kind of weight that presses down in a warm and reassuring way rather than an uncomfortable one. It covers you from your feet to your chin. Your chin is warm where the edge of the blanket rests against it. Your feet are warm at the far end, the blanket gathered there in a fold. Below you, in the lower berth, someone is already asleep. You can hear them, just barely, when the sound of the train dips between its own rhythms, breathing with the long, even depth of someone who went to sleep before the station fell away and has been going deeper ever since. Their breath comes and goes with great patience. They are not near the surface. They are very far down in sleep, and they do not know you are awake in the berth above them, watching the window. The compartment is small. For berths, 2 on each side, upper and lower. Yours is the upper on the window side. Across the narrow aisle, the other upper berth is empty tonight, the mattress bare, the pillow without its case. Below it, in the lower berth on that side, a second passenger, also asleep. You can hear their breathing too, if you listen past the first, slower, with a longer pause at the bottom of each exhale, a different rhythm from the one below you, neither better nor worse, just different. The way 2 clocks in the same room keep different time even when they run at the same rate. You are the only one awake, or close to awake. You are in the space that has no name, not asleep, not alert, somewhere between the two, where the body has released most of its claims on the world and the mind still holds a single thin thread of it, the sound of the train, the cold from the glass, the weight of the blanket at your shoulders. You hold this thread loosely. You are not gripping it. The window is at your left side. You turn your head toward it. The glass is cold at its edges. You can feel the cold radiating from the frame without touching it, a faint chill at the border between your warmth and the outside. In the very corners of the pane, where the cold seeps most readily through the seal, a fine lacework of frost has begun to form. Individual crystals, each one a branching structure too small to see clearly from here, each one slightly different from the ones beside it, all of them growing in the dark and the cold, working inward from the edge of the frame. You cannot see them growing. Growth that slow is invisible. But you can see what has already grown, and when you look again in an hour you will see more of it, and in this way the frost will have told you how much time has passed without you needing to look at a clock. Outside the glass, dark. Not the ordinary dark of a room with the lights off. The dark of Siberia in winter. The dark of a continent that extends in every direction past the limit of what the eye can hold, flat and cold and enormous, crossed by 2 rails of steel and nothing else. The snow is visible. Wherever the ambient light of the train's own windows reaches the ground, which is always, along the entire length of the train, the lit carriages making a moving pool of dim warmth on the snow. You can see the surface of the snow. It is blue-white in the dark. Not quite white the way snow looks in daylight, but something quieter, something that is white and night at the same time. It lies flat and unbroken beside the track, grading slightly up the embankment and then becoming perfectly level, a plane of pale blue extending outward until it meets the first of the birch trees. Birch trees appear and disappear. They come in clusters along the side of the track, stands of them, their trunks white and bare of leaves, the fine mesh of their upper branches visible against the darker sky. When the train's light catches the trunks, they flash, very white, very sudden, and then they are gone behind you and the next cluster appears. The forests open and close. The plain returns between them, smooth and white, and then the birches come back and the plain returns again. The sound of the train is the sound this whole night is built from. It is constant, a low, rhythmic clatter of steel wheels on steel rails, endlessly repeated, modifying itself slightly at every joint in the track, at every switch, at every bridge. Not a simple sound. It has layers, the deep percussion of the wheels themselves, and behind that the creak and flex of the carriage body, and behind that the faint rattle of the glass in its frame, and beneath all of those, the soft sighing wind sound of the train moving through cold air at speed. Together these things make something that is almost like music, but is not music. It has no resolution, no climax, no note it is building toward. It simply goes on. The way the track goes on. The way the night goes on. You are inside the sound. You have been inside it since you boarded, and you will be inside it until morning. But for now the morning is very far away. For now there is only this, the sound and the dark and the snow and the narrow berth and the blanket and the slow passage of your own breath. The train rocks, very gently. A slow lean to the left, very gradual, lasting perhaps 10 seconds before the track straightens and the car levels again. And then a lean to the right, equally gradual, equally brief. Not dramatic. This is not a rocking that ever throws anything off the shelf. It is a small, continuous motion, the consequence of a long vehicle moving over imperfect track, over joints and small irregularities that accumulate over kilometers into a gentle, irregular sway. Your body learns it before you decide to learn it. Your shoulders relax into it. Your hips follow. The blanket rises and falls, very slightly with each lean. You are warm. Your feet are warm at the end of the blanket. Your hands are warm. They are resting somewhere, on your chest or at your sides. You are not entirely certain, and the not being certain is fine, because your hands are warm wherever they are. Your face is warm. The only cold in your world right now is the cold at the edge of the window glass, which you can feel if you extend your attention toward it, which you do not extend. It is there. It is outside your warmth. It cannot reach you. You do not need to do anything. That is the most important thing, and you have known it since before you lay down, but it becomes more real the longer you are here. You do not need to do anything at all. The train is doing the only thing that needs doing. It is moving. It has a crew in the locomotive, whose work it is to keep it moving. It has rails to follow. It has a destination it will reach with or without any effort from you. Your only part in this is to be here, horizontal, warm, in the berth, while it carries you. This is all there is to do. And you are already doing it. The smell of the compartment is warm and layered. You notice it now that you have been still long enough to stop noticing other things. The topmost layer is the wool of the blanket, warm and slightly rough-smelling, carrying the accumulated warmth of this berth and of all the berths this blanket has covered on all the crossings before this one. People have slept under this blanket who did not know they would sleep under it, who boarded the train tired and cold and lay down in this berth and pulled this blanket over themselves and felt exactly what you feel right now, the weight, the warmth, the simple fact of being covered. Below the wool, the faint metallic sweetness of the tea glass. It sits in its metal holder on the small shelf below the window, the glass slightly clouded near the base, the last half-inch of tea cold now. You drank most of it an hour ago. What remains is still, dark, holding the shape of warm, but no longer warm. The glass reflects nothing, or almost nothing, just a faint crescent of ambient light from the snow outside, a thin rim of brightness in the dark compartment. Below the tea smell, the wood of the fittings. The compartment is lined with pale wood, the fold-down table below the window, the edges of the berth frame, the small hooks and handles worn smooth from years of hands gripping them in the sway of the train. Wood smells different in warmth than in cold. Right now it smells of warmth. And below all of that, the smell of the train itself. A smell made of many things: heated metal, something faintly oily, the way warm air smells after it has been recirculated through a long sealed space for many hours. The smell of distance, of something that has been in motion for a long time. You cannot separate its parts. Together they make a single thing, the smell of the train, and you breathe it in slowly through your nose, and you breathe it out, and the compartment smells exactly as it did before. At the end of the car, the samovar hisses, very softly. The sound is barely distinguishable from the wheel sound. You have to reach your hearing past the closer sounds, past the rattle of the glass and the creak of the carriage to find it. But it is there, a small, continuous whisper of steam from the attendant's compartment at the near end of the car. The samovar is always running. It runs against the possibility of need, against the possibility that anyone in this car might want tea in the dark hours. Right now, no one needs tea. Everyone is asleep, or nearly. The samovar keeps its heat anyway. The attendant has gone quiet. You heard her earlier, the soft, regular fall of her footsteps in the corridor, the brief sound of a compartment door tested at its latch, then the footsteps retreating toward her own compartment at the end of the car. And then silence. She is there now, near the samovar, probably asleep in the particular way that train attendants sleep, with one ear still open, still registered to the ordinary sounds of the car, so that any sound that is not ordinary will wake her without her needing to decide to wake. There are no unordinary sounds tonight. The corridor outside the compartment door is quiet. The only light is the thin blue-white stripe that comes through the gap at the bottom of the door, the night lighting of the corridor, soft and constant, there so the attendant can walk the length of the car without turning anything on. It lies flat across the floor of the compartment and does not move. The compartment is dark. You can see the shapes of things, the edge of the opposite berth, the pale fold of the empty mattress across from you, the gleam of the tea glass on the shelf, but all shapes are shadow, all colors reduced to the same blue-gray of a night room. It is a quiet color, a color that asks nothing of the eye. You turn your head back toward the window. The snow is still there. Of course it is. The snow does not go anywhere. The birch trunks flash past, very white in the dark, one cluster and then another, and between them the plain opens and the snow runs flat to the tree lean on either side, and the sky above is dark but slightly lighter than the trees. A distinction of dark that exists without any one of them being bright. You watch the snow. You don't think about the snow. There is a distinction. Thinking about the snow would mean holding it in your mind, turning it over, attaching words to it. Watching requires nothing. You let your eyes rest on the white surface and let it pass. Each expanse of white replaced by the next expanse of white, each cluster of birches replaced by the next cluster. No conclusion, no direction, just the thing moving past while you remain still. The train leans into a long curve. You feel it through the mattress, through the frame of the berth, a very slow lean, 10 or 15 seconds, the snow outside tilting slightly as the car follows the arc of the track. Your body adjusts by small fractions. The blanket settles at a new angle. And then the track straightens, the car levels, everything returns to exactly where it was. At the far end of the car, the samovar. Hissing. The lower passenger shifts. Just once, a small reorganization of weight in the berth below, the sound of cloth adjusting, and then stillness again, and the new pattern of their breathing, slightly slower than before, the pause at the end of each exhale slightly longer. A better position. A deeper place in sleep. You hear this, register it, let it go. Then, a station. It comes quickly and goes quickly. A sudden brightness, sodium lamps on concrete posts, their orange warmth flooding the compartment for a few seconds, and a platform of gray concrete, a small wooden shelter, a bench, a few figures in heavy coats standing motionless in the cold, their breath visible as white clouds in the orange light. The train does not slow. The platform passes at full speed. The orange is gone. The dark returns. The snow returns. You did not read the name of the station. The sign was there, dark letters on a pale board, mounted on the shelter, but the train was going too fast. The angle was wrong, and it did not matter. Somewhere in Siberia. A place with a name, with people who know it, who live there and sometimes wait at its platform in the winter dark for trains that carry other people through without stopping. A place that exists entirely independently of your knowing it. And now it is behind you. The snow is in front of you. The birches flash past. Your eyes are heavy. Not dramatically, not in a way you are fighting against. Just heavy in the natural way that eyes get heavy when the light is low and the position is horizontal and the sound is constant and there is nothing to see that requires them to be open. They do not need to be open. The snow will still be there if they close. But you look for a little while longer. There is no reason to watch the snow. The snow does not need watching. It does not do anything that requires your attention. It lies there in the dark, flat, and patient, and very large, adding to itself where it is still snowing and resting where it is not, doing its winter work without any interest in whether you observe it or not. But watching it costs nothing. That is the thing about this kind of watching, it takes nothing from you. It does not ask you to hold anything, to track anything, to conclude anything. You simply let your eyes rest on the surface of the world and let the world move past them. The snow moves past. The birches move past. The dark between the birches moves past. You stay still, and the train moves, and the snow stays still relative to itself, and nothing is resolved because nothing needs to be. A birch forest comes up on the right. You can tell by the way the darkness changes texture. The open plain gives way to something vertical and patterned, the air between the trees a different kind of dark from the air above the open snow. The trunks are white, or almost white, and between them the snow lies in a slightly different way, interrupted by roots, by the irregular topography of the forest floor, by the shadows the trees cast even in this faint ambient light. Less perfectly flat than the snow on the plain. More textured. The forest passes. The plain returns. You breathe out a long, slow exhale, not deliberate, just the natural end of a breath you had not particularly noticed holding. The wheel sound has changed position in your awareness. Not changed quality, it is the same sound, the same rhythm, the same layers. But it has moved. A little while ago it was in the foreground, the most prominent thing you were hearing, the thing your attention kept returning to. Now it has moved to the middle ground. It is still there, still distinct if you reach for it, but no longer demanding. And as you notice this shift, it moves further back still, settling toward the background, becoming less something you hear and more something you are inside. Like a heartbeat. Your heartbeat. You notice it for a moment, the soft percussion of it in your chest, the slight pressure at your temples, and then you release it. It has been doing this since before you were aware that anything was happening, and it will keep doing it. The heartbeat and the wheel sound are both going on simultaneously, both continuous, both asking nothing. You let go of both. They will continue without you. Snow is falling. You are not sure exactly when it started. Not suddenly, there was no moment of beginning that you caught. It increased gradually, from nothing to a few sparse flakes to what is falling now, a soft, steady snowfall, the flakes coming straight down in the stillness between the train and the wind it makes, each one lit for an instant by the light from the train's windows as it falls past the glass. The flakes are small. They fall slowly. They land on the snow already on the ground and become it, indistinguishable from it immediately. Snow falling on snow, adding to it, very patiently, one crystal at a time times 10,000 at a time. The sound outside is different when it snows. Not quieter, the wheel sound continues exactly as before. But the air has a different quality, a slightly softer quality, the boundary between the surface of the snow and the air above it less sharply defined, the horizon less distinct. Everything slightly diffused. The birches receive the snow on their bare branches. Each branch holds a thin line of white along its upper surface. The finest branches lose it almost immediately. The flakes land and fall before they can accumulate. The larger branches hold more, building small ridges of white along their length. By morning, these ridges will be heavier, more pronounced, the whole structure of each tree made more complex and more visible by the snow it has collected. But that is morning. You are not thinking about morning. Morning is elsewhere. It will arrive when it arrives. You breathe. The train carries you through the falling snow without being touched by it, moving too fast, too warm, the air moving around the carriages, sweeping the flakes away before they can settle. The snow falls past the windows and continues to the ground, and the train passes through it, and the snow does not mind. Below you, the passenger has not moved in a long time. They are very deep in their sleep now. You can tell by the complete absence of the small sounds that people near the surface of sleep make, the slight shifts, the occasional half-swallow. Just breath. Just the slow, even, bottomless breath of someone who has gone all the way down into sleep and will not surface until morning or until the train announces something that needs announcing. The other passenger in the lower berth across from you. The same depth. 3 people in this compartment, and 2 of them this far down. The attendant at the end of the car, asleep or sitting quietly with her own thoughts. And beyond the compartment walls, in all the other compartments along the length of this car, more sleeping people, coats folded over luggage on the racks, shoes tucked under berths, breathing their individual rhythms. And beyond this car, more cars. More compartments. More sleeping people. The train is a long, warm thing, carrying all of them through the dark and the snow. You are part of what it carries. This is comfortable. To be cargo. To be carried without being responsible for the carrying. To be warm without having to tend the warmth. To be moving through the largest dark you have ever moved through, without being the one who moves. A frozen lake appears. You know it before you see it. The sound changes first, the wheel sound opening outward, becoming more resonant, less enclosed. The way sound behaves when there is nothing on either side to receive it and send it back. The trilene falls away on both sides simultaneously, and then the window shows you the lake. Wide and flat and pale, its surface frozen and covered in snow, indistinguishable from the surrounding plain in color, but identifiable by its completeness, a surface with no interruption, no twig, no stone. Nothing breaking the absolute flatness of the frozen water beneath the snow. The lake is very wide. The train passes along its shore, or near it, the track running at the edge of what the lake is. The far shore is a dark line at the very limit of visibility, the trilene resuming there, distant and indistinct. Between here and there, white. Flat, still, enormous white. Near the center of the lake, a single dark line crosses the white surface. A crack in the ice refrozen. Or the channel where the inflowing river keeps the water moving too fast to freeze. One dark line across all that white, very straight, as if drawn. And then the trilene comes back, gradually one tree, then a cluster, then a wall, and the lake is behind you and the sound closes in, and the compartment is the same as before. You exhale. Your hands are at your sides now or on your chest. You are genuinely not certain which. This uncertainty is itself a sign. Your body has released its attention from its own position. Your hands are warm. That is what you know about them. Warm and resting and not requiring anything. The snow outside. Still falling. Still flat on the ground, receiving the new snow without distinction. The birches come back. White trunks in the dark, regular for a moment, trees planted in rows long ago, a plantation, now mature, and then irregular again, the wild forest taking over, the trees clustering and spreading as they choose. The snow between them lies flat. The pine forest begins on the left side. Darker trees, heavier, the branches carrying more snow on their needles than the bare birch branches can. The snow sits differently on pines, in pads on the upper surfaces of the branches, thick accumulations that sometimes sag under their own weight before they fall or compact. From here, in the train, in this light, the pine boughs are visible mainly as shapes, dark against dark, a few lit from below where the snow they carry catches the train's ambient light. The sound is different in the pines, slightly muffled. The high frequencies of the wheel sound softened by the density of the trees, the air between them packed with needles and accumulated cold. Not quieter, the rhythm is the same, but lower in its register, as though the sound has been wrapped in something thin. You notice this. And then you stop noticing it, because noticing it is effort, and your breathing is very slow now, and your body is very heavy. Not in the bad way. The good way. The heaviness of a body that has put down everything optional and kept only the essential. Your weight in the berth. Your warmth under the blanket. The slow movement of your breath. The train bears your weight without noticing. A small station passes, you see only the brief orange of a single lamp on a wooden post. No platform lights, no shelter, just the lamp and a sign you cannot read. And then it is gone. The dark is complete again in a moment. You breathe. The snow outside the glass. The frost at the corners, growing. The tea glass gleaming faintly on the shelf. The wheel sound underneath. The breathing below you. You are very close to something. Not something eventful. Not something that requires you to act. You are close to the edge of awareness. The place where consciousness begins to release its grip on the specifics of where you are and what you hear. Where the individual things, the blanket, the window, the rails, the snow, begin to blend into a single quality of being here, warm, carried. The edge. You are right at the edge. There is no particular thought. Or there is, but it moves through you the way the landscape moves through the window, not because you reach for it, but because you are here and it passes. The birch trees, the smell of the blanket, the weight of your legs, the sound of the rails. These things pass through your awareness the way they pass outside the glass, without urgency, without demand, without requiring you to do anything about them. You breathe. The train rocks. A very long, very gradual curve now. You feel it through the berth, through your side. A slow lean that lasts longer than the usual curves. And in this curve, for just a moment, you can see through the window the shape of the train itself. The lit carriages ahead of yours, bending away through the dark, their windows amber in the black, each one the same amber. Each one a room where someone is sleeping. The chain of lit windows curves away until it is lost in the dark ahead. And then the track straightens and the windows disappear and there is only the snow again. The snow again. Always the snow. A frozen stream crosses beneath the track. You feel the brief hollow quality of the bridge, the wheel sound resonating differently over the structure above the water, and then the ground again. The solid sound, the pines on either side. The pines. The sound in the pines. You close your eyes. They do not require effort to close. They close the way things close when they have been open long enough, without being pushed, without being decided. And behind them the dark is a different dark, warmer, closer, without snow or distance or cold. Just the inside of your eyelids, and the warmth of the compartment, and the sound of the train. The sound of the train. Still there, behind your closed eyes. The wheel sound, rhythmic and continuous, going on the way it has always gone on, the way it will go on until morning, and then through the day, and then through another night, if that is where the journey goes. But you are not going that far in your thinking. You are here, in this moment, in this berth, your eyes closed, the sound underneath you like a floor. The lower passenger breathes. In and out, slowly. You match your breath toward theirs, not deliberately, not with any particular intention, just the way the body naturally tends toward the rhythms around it when the body has stopped defending itself against them. Your exhale lengthens a little. The pause at the bottom of your breath lengthens a little. Your inhale comes when it comes, without being hurried. The pines give way to birches again. You know this even with your eyes closed. The sound opening slightly, the muffled quality lifting, the wheel sound gaining back its upper register. Birches again. The open sound of birches. The samovar hisses. At the end of the car. Still. A signal light somewhere far ahead, you don't see it, your eyes are closed, but you sense a brief change in the quality of the dark against your eyelids, the very faint suggestion of a red glow passing. Or you imagine it. Either way it is gone now, and the dark is the same dark. Your chest rises. Falls. The blanket with it. There is a village somewhere out there, far from the track. You cannot see it. But you know it is there the way you know the snow is there, by inference, by the fact of the continent, by the certainty that people live here, in this cold and this dark, in houses with fires and heaters and windows lit from the inside. A village of people sleeping, their dogs curled at their doors, their children deep in dreams. The train passes somewhere near it, and they do not know, and you will not know them. This is comfortable. All those sleeping people in all those houses, all the way across Siberia in both directions. All that warmth contained. And you crossing through all of it, high and warm in your berth, none of it intersecting with any of the rest of it, all of it simply existing in the same enormous dark. You breathe. In. Out. The rails. The rails have been here a long time. Longer than this train, longer than the people on it, longer than most things that have a definite beginning. The first ones were laid in summer and in terrible winter, section by section, through terrain that resisted and terrain that did not, across rivers and along riverbeds and through forests that had never had a line cut through them before. They have been here ever since, maintained and remaintained, replaced in sections when they wore out, the track continuous even as its pieces changed. The wheels of this train fit into the groove of these rails the way they always have. The fit is exact. The train goes where the rails go, and the rails go west. You do not need to choose west. The train chooses it for you. You do not need to choose anything. The choosing is done. You are on the train. The train is on the rails. The rails go west. This is what is happening, and all you need to do is be here while it does. Be here. Breathe. Let the rocking carry you. The middle of the night. If there is a middle, if time, in this part of the crossing, in this part of the dark, has a middle rather than just an endless present tense. The train does not recognize the middle of the night. It maintains the same speed, the same sound, the same steady consumption of distance. The dark outside the window does not deepen or lighten. The snow is the same snow. The birches are the same birches. Everything is the same. This is what the middle of the night on a train through Siberia is. Everything the same. Snow, dark, birch, rail. Snow, dark, birch, rail. The pattern does not end. The pattern does not escalate. It simply continues, the way very large things continue, the way the continent continues beneath you, not going anywhere, not arriving anywhere, simply being what it is across its entire enormous surface. You breathe. In. Out. Your eyes are still closed. The birch trunks flash past outside the glass, very white, though you are not watching them. You know they're there the way you know the rails are there and the snow is there, by the fact of everything going on without you. The lower passenger shifts. Just barely. A small sound, the creak of the berth settling, the adjustment of a body that has found a slightly better position without waking to look for it. And then the new stillness and the new breathing. Slightly different from the old breathing, slightly lower, slightly more settled. You are all settling. Everyone in this compartment settling toward the same depth, the depth that the train makes available. This warmth, this sound, this motion. The depth is there for all of you. You are all moving toward it at your own pace, from wherever you started. Another river. You feel the bridge, the brief hollow resonance, the open air beneath the wheels, the sound going out without return, and then the solid ground again. The river is behind you, moving in the dark beneath its ice, carrying its cold water somewhere, the water under the ice dark and patient and very cold, moving the only direction it can move, which is downhill, which is toward the sea, though the sea is very far away. The sea is not something you need to think about. The river is already behind you. Your heartbeat, very slow, not worryingly slow, just slow in the way of a body that has put down all its optional work, that is running on what is essential, that has stopped spending energy on things that do not require energy. The heartbeat keeps its rhythm. The lungs keep their rhythm. The rails keep their rhythm. Everything keeping its rhythm without you. A sound from the far end of the car, very soft, the sound of the attendant's compartment door opening and closing, the brief change in the sound of the train that results from a door briefly open and then not open. She is checking something, or making tea for herself, or simply restless in the small way that people who sleep lightly get restless. And then her door is closed again and the sound of the car is what it was. The samovar. Still hissing. The snow is still falling outside the window. Or it stopped at some point and you did not notice. The ground snow is the same flat, white, accumulated, regardless of whether new snow is falling. The quality of the dark has not changed. You cannot tell, from in here, whether it is still snowing or has been still for an hour. It does not matter. Either the snow falls or it does not. Either way the ground is white. Either way the birches are white. Either way you are warm. The birches again. White in the dark. They have been recurring all night, the birches appearing and disappearing, giving way to pine or open plain and then coming back. There are many birch forests in Siberia. The taiga is full of them, mixed with pine and larch and occasional spruce, and in winter all of them look different from inside this compartment. The birch is white, the pine's dark, the larch is bare. You have passed through all of them tonight, and you will pass through them again. The repetition is not boring. It is the opposite of boring. It is the quality the night has, the quality the crossing has, the same things again and then again. Snow, birch, dark. Pine, snow, dark. Rail, dark snow. The same pattern cycling back, never exactly identical, but always recognizable. The way a river is always the river, even though the water is never the same water. Your breath cycles back. In and then out, and then in again, and then out. The same pattern, the same body, the same motion. Different air each time. The same motion. You are very still. You have been still for a long time. Still enough that the mattress beneath you no longer feels like a surface you are resting on. It has become simply warm, a warmth you are inside. The way you are inside the compartment. The way the compartment is inside the train. The berth has become part of the warmth. Outside, a station. Small. Very small. A single platform lamp, dim, and a sign whose letters you cannot read. A concrete shelter, a bench. No one on the platform or someone, one figure, standing very still at the far end of the platform, barely visible, there and then gone before you can resolve the shape into certainty. The train does not slow. The station is gone. The dark is complete again before the station's echo has finished arriving. Snow. Rails. You breathe. The pine forest comes back. It always comes back. Dark and heavy, the branches laden with their snow, the air between the trees denser than the air of the open plain. The sound slightly muffled. The dark slightly more dense. You are inside the pine forest now. And then outside it. And then inside birch. And then open plain, snow running flat to the horizon. And then birch again. This is the pattern. This is the whole pattern. You do not need anything more. The wheel sound is very far back in your hearing now. Not absent. If it stopped, you would know. You would wake or surface at the cessation of the sound you have been inside all night. But while it goes on, you do not hear it separately from yourself. You are inside it. It is inside you. The rhythm has entered your body, entered your chest, the way rhythms do when they go on long enough without interruption. Your heartbeat, the rails, both going on, both patient, both asking nothing. The night goes very deeply. This is what happens in the long hours, not that time slows, not that anything changes exactly, but that everything settles to a level it has been slowly finding all along, the way a lake settles to stillness after a wind. The compartment is at its stillness now. The passengers are at their deepest sleep. The sound of the train is at its furthest remove from your conscious attention. The snow is at its most undifferentiated white. Everything at its level. The berth holds you. The blanket holds you. The warmth holds you. You are held inside several layers of holding, each one slightly larger than the last. The blanket, the berth, the compartment, the car, the train, the night, the snow, the continent. And outside the continent, more cold, more dark. But you are not outside the continent. You are inside all the layers. You are at the center of the warmth. The birches flash past the window. Very white. You do not see them, your eyes are closed, but you know they are there. The white trunks, the bare branches, the fine mesh of them against the darker sky. You know them the way you know your own heartbeat, not by looking but by the fact of them, by the certainty that they're there whether you attend to them or not. And they are. White. In the dark. The wheel sound. The samovar, very faint, at the far end of the car. The two passengers below, breathing their deep sleep. The frost at the corners of the glass, still growing, very slowly, in the cold. You breathe. Breathing is the one thing you are still actively doing, if actively means anything here, if the distinction between active and passive still applies in a body this close to the edge of sleep. In. A long pause. Out. A longer pause. In. The pause at the bottom of the breath has grown. It grew on its own, without you deciding to grow it, the way all the other changes tonight happened, gradually, without a moment you could point to and say, there, that is when it changed. The pauses are longer. The breaths are slower. The intervals between them are quieter. Your body is doing what it knows to do. The snow outside the window is doing what it knows to do. The rails are doing what they know to do. Everything doing what it knows. Everything going on without requiring your supervision. A very long section of straight track. You can tell by the complete absence of any lean in the berth, no curve, no lean, no adjustment. Just perfectly straight, the train going forward without deviation. The snow on either side perfectly level, perfectly flat, the birches or pines or open plain going past without any change in angle. Straight. Very long. The train runs straight through the dark. The dark ahead the same as the dark behind. The snow the same as the snow. You breathe. A faint vibration reaches your berth from somewhere far forward in the train, the kind of vibration that travels through the coupled carriages as something very small, a difference in the tension of the coupling, a slight change in the engine's pull. Something happening in the locomotive that is none of your concern and will not remain distinguishable from the ordinary vibration of the train for more than a few seconds. It goes. The train continues. Of course it continues. A long curve begins. Very gradual, very slow. This is a landscape where the track bends over large distances, where the curves are so gentle they would not be visible from the air. You feel this one through your body, the slow lean, the sustained lean, the world tilting on its axis by 1 or 2 degrees and holding there. The lean lasts a long time. The snow outside tilts. The birches tilt with it, very slightly, everything at the same gentle angle. And then straight again. And then the snow, flat. And then the birches. White. The hour before the deepest part of the night, or the hour after, you have no way to know which. The dark is the same dark. The snow is the same snow. The sound of the train has not changed. The cold at the glass has not changed. The warmth under the blanket has not changed. Nothing marks this hour as different from the last hour or the next. That is the gift of it. The gift is that there is no marker, no event approaching, no reason to hold attention toward the next moment instead of resting entirely in this one. You do not need to watch for anything. Nothing is arriving. The train runs through the dark and the snow is the snow and the birches are the birches and you are warm and the blanket is heavy and the rails go on. Just this. your breath. In, the weight of the blanket. Out, the sound of the rails. In, the cold at the very edge. Out, the warmth everywhere else. In, the frost growing at the corners of the glass. Out, the birches. In, white. Out, the lower passenger breathing. In, very slow. Out, very slow. In, the pine forest again. Or still, you have been in and out of pine and birch so many times tonight that the distinction has softened. The two kinds of darkness trading places without ceremony, the track simply going through whatever the taiga provides. Pine, birch, open plain, pine again. The pattern has no preference. The train has no preference. The night has no preference. You have no preference. You are simply in the dark, moving through it in the warm. The snow sits on the pine branches in the particular way it sits on pine branches, padded, substantial, the needles holding more than bare birch branches can hold. When the train's ambient light catches a pine bough close to the track, the snow on it is briefly white before the dark closes again. A flash of white, very close. Gone. The smell of the compartment. You notice it again, the wool, the cold glass, the wood of the fittings, the faint echo of the tea. Everything the same as it was when you first lay down, everything the same as it was an hour ago. The compartment smells of what it is. It does not change its smell. It simply smells. You breathe it in. You breathe it out. The berth is very warm now. The warmth has reached a kind of saturation, not too warm, not uncomfortable, just warm all the way through, as if the berth has been inhabited long enough to have become part of you, to have taken on your warmth and given it back, so that the boundary between your warmth and the berth's warmth is no longer clear. You are just warm. The train rocks. In the long, slow rhythm it always rocks, the sideways sway of a long vehicle on imperfect track. You feel it at your hips, at your shoulders, in the slight movement of the blanket. It has been rocking you all night. You do not notice the rocking any more than you notice your own heartbeat, except in the rare moments when your attention drifts to it and finds it there, still going, still rocking, still carrying, still carrying. The rails. The rails are very patient things. They do not hurry the train. They do not slow it. They simply hold it in the only direction it can go, and the train goes in that direction, and the crossing happens, and by morning many hundreds of kilometers of this will be behind you and many hundreds more ahead. And eventually the train will stop at a platform that is your platform, and the crossing will be complete. But not now. Now there is only the dark and the rails and the snow and the warmth and your breath. Very slow breath. In, the compartment. Out, the blanket. In, the train. Out, the snow. In, something changes. Not something eventful. Not a sound, not a movement, not any external thing. Something in you. Something in the quality of your own awareness, which has been quietly releasing its grip on things all night, one by one. First releasing the specifics of where you are, and then releasing the specific sounds, and then releasing the specific sensations, and now releasing something else, something subtler. The last remaining thread of attention that has been connecting you to the surface of the world. The thread is very thin now. It was thin an hour ago. It is thinner now. And in a little while it will be thinner still, and then it will not be a thread anymore. It will be the absence of a thread, and you will be on the other side of it, in the place where the train continues, but you do not need to continue. The blanket. Heavy. Warm. The ceiling of the berth. Very close. The snow outside. Still there. The birches. Still there. The rails. Still there. The samovar. Still hissing. The lower passenger. Still breathing. You. Still here. In. Out. In. The dark outside the window is the same dark it has been. The snow is the same snow. The birches flash past, white in the dark, one after another, too many to count, not to be counted. You are not counting. You are not watching. Your eyes are closed. The sound of the rails. The rails. The rails. Your breath is very slow now. Slower than it was at the beginning of the night. Slower than it was an hour ago. The pauses between breaths are long. Not uncomfortably long. Just long in the way of a body that has stopped hurrying, that has stopped measuring the intervals, that has simply let breathing happen at whatever pace breathing wants to happen. In. Long pause. Out. Longer pause. In. The blanket is very warm. Your legs are very still. Your arms are very still. Your face has gone slack in the way that faces go slack when they have stopped doing anything. You are doing nothing. The train is doing everything. Outside, snow. Snow and birch and dark. The same snow and birch and dark it has been all night, all the long dark hours of this crossing, and it will be snow and birch and dark for many more hours before the gray of dawn begins to suggest itself at the horizon. And by then you will have been asleep for a long time. By then you will not know what the window is showing. By then you will not know anything in the particular sweet way that sleep takes knowing away and gives it back in the morning changed. The rails. The rails. A distant village, you do not see it. You cannot see it from here. You cannot see anything, but it is out there, somewhere past the birch forest, past the open plain, past the next stand of pines. A cluster of lights, orange and still, in houses where people are sleeping. People who do not know this train is passing. People who will wake in the morning to the same snow, the same cold, the same sky, and go about the business of their lives, which you will never know. The train passes near them in the dark. And continues. And continues. Your heartbeat. Very slow. The rails. Very patient. Both going on. In. Out. The snow. White. The birch. White. The dark. Still. Snow. Rails. The blanket. Your breath. In. Snow. Out. Rails. In. The samovar. Very far. Out. The warmth. In. The dark. Out. In. Very slow. Out. Very slow. In. The frost. Still growing. Very slow. The birch. White. The snow. White. The rails. Going on. In. Out. The lower passenger. Breathing. Slow. The blanket. Heavy. Warm. In. Out. In. The train. The train. Still going. Through the snow. Through the dark. Through the birch and the pine and the open plain and the frozen river and the frozen lake and the small station with its single lamp and the village with its orange windows and all of Siberia, all of it, the whole enormous, quiet, cold dark of it. The train goes through all of it and carries you. You do not have to do anything. You do not have to watch. You do not have to listen. The train knows where to go. The rails know where the train belongs. The snow knows how to be snow. The dark knows how to be dark. Everything doing what it knows. Everything going on. In. Out. The blanket. In. The warmth. Out. The rails. In. Out. In. The train carries. The train carries. The train carries you. Through the snow. Through the dark. Through the long, still, patient Siberian night. All the way, carrying you, all the way through. The warmth is there. The warmth is always there. In, out, in, the snow, the rails, the dark, the warmth, your breath. Still, slow, there. The train goes on. The train goes on. The train goes on. The dark outside the window is the same dark it has been for many hours now. There is no way to know how many. Your watch is somewhere in your coat, which is folded over the luggage above your berth, and there is nothing else to consult. No clock on the compartment wall, no display on the window, no voice that announces the hour. The train knows the hour. The rails know the hour. You do not need to know it. The dark is enough. The dark is the measure of the night, and the night is still very long, and that is all you need to understand about where you are in it. Your breath. In, out, in. The blanket has reached a warmth that is no longer merely the blanket's warmth or your body's warmth, but a warmth that belongs to the space between you and it. The combined warmth of a body and its covering having been together long enough to stop being separate things. You are not the cold person who boarded this train. The cold has been entirely replaced. There is nothing cold in your immediate world except the edge of the window glass, which is there, which is outside your warmth, which cannot reach you. The cold is there. For the cold. The warmth is here. For you. A frozen marsh appears outside the window. You know it by the different quality of the flat, not the flat of open steppe or the flat of a cleared field, but the flat of standing water frozen in late autumn, before the first deep snows came to cover it. The reeds are still visible at the near edge, their dry stalks brown against the snow, catching what ambient light the train provides and holding it for a moment before the train has passed and the marsh is behind you. Where there were reeds, there was water. Where there was water, there is now ice, covered in snow like everything else, flat like everything else, part of the white world like everything else. The reeds disappear behind you. More snow, more flat. You breathe. The compartment is very still. There are 3 sleeping people in it, or 2 sleeping and 1 resting on the very edge of sleep, and the 3 of them together make a kind of warmth that is more than any one of them would make alone. The shared warmth of bodies in the same small space. The train's heating does its part, but the bodies do something the heating cannot. They breathe, and breathing warms the air in a particular way, a way that smells of sleep and wool and the long passage of hours. You are part of this warmth. Your own breath is part of it. The lower passenger, breathing. The other passenger, across the narrow aisle, breathing. The attendant at the end of the car, breathing. And beyond her, in all the other compartments of this car, more breathing. A whole car of sleeping people, breathing in the dark, their breath filling the warm air of the car as the train fills the dark of Siberia. An entire train of sleeping people. You are among them. In, out. The wheel sound continues. Of course it continues. There is no reason for it to stop. The train does not hesitate, it does not slow for the dark, it does not slow for the cold, it does not slow for the vast indifferent flatness of the land it crosses. The track is the track, and the wheels are on the track, and the wheels turn, and the sound of the wheels on the track goes on and on in its layered, patient rhythm. The deep percussion and the creak and the glass rattle and the wind sound all mix together into the single thing that is the sound of the train at night, in Siberia, in winter. The single thing. That is all there is. Very softly, the samovar. It has been hissing at the end of the car since before you lay down. Since before this compartment was warm. Since before the lights dimmed and the corridor went blue-white and quiet and the passengers around you surrendered to the night. The samovar has been there through all of it, keeping its heat, waiting for need, doing its single patient task. You think of the samovar as a companion of sorts, not in any sentimental way, but in the way that any constant thing becomes companionable over hours. It is there. It will be there. The water in it is hot. The water has been hot all night and will remain hot into the morning, and there is something in this that is purely comforting. Hot water. In the dark. At the end of the car. Available. Not needed. You are not cold. You do not need tea. You do not need anything. The frost at the corners of the window glass. Still growing. You have been watching it grow for you have no idea how long. Since you lay down, certainly. The crystals that were small and separate when the night began have joined at their edges now, the lacework filling in, the individual structures merging into a larger pattern that covers more of the corner now than it did before. If you were going to watch it all night, by morning there would be more. But you are not going to watch it all night. You are already very far from watching. You let your eyes close fully. There is nothing in the dark behind your eyes that is different from the dark of the compartment. Both are dark. Both are warm. Both are moving at the speed of the train through the Siberian night. The distinction between the dark you are inside and the dark outside is not one your body makes anymore, lying here in the berth with the blanket at your chin. Just dark. Warm dark. The rails going through it. The wheel sound is a thing you are inside now, not a thing you hear. The distinction has collapsed. The rhythm of the steel on the steel is a rhythm that has entered your body, entered your breathing, entered the space between your ribs. You breathe with it. Not deliberately. The body simply finds the rhythm that surrounds it and moves toward it. In. The rhythm. Out. The rhythm. In. Still. A station. Small, very small, gone in seconds, a single light on a pole, a platform of wet concrete under snow, a yellow shelter, and then the dark again, and the snow again, and the sound sealed back to normal as though the station never interrupted it. You registered the light. You registered the brief orange warmth of it across the compartment ceiling. And then it was gone, and you released it, the way you have released everything tonight, without effort, without intention, simply by being still and letting it pass. The next station is many hours away, or not many. You genuinely do not know, and the not knowing is peaceful in a way that not knowing is rarely peaceful in ordinary life. In ordinary life, the not knowing is something you work to correct, looking at clocks, consulting schedules, calculating arrival times, planning what comes after arrival. On this train, in this night, you have let all of that go. The train will stop when it stops. The distance will pass when it passes. Morning will come when it comes. You will be asleep before any of it arrives. You will not even know when it arrives. The lower passenger. Their breathing has changed quality in the last hour. It is slower, and the rhythm has simplified. The small variations of breathing that persists near the surface of sleep have smoothed out, and what remains is very even, very slow, each breath like the others. They are at the deepest part now. The part where dreams, if there are dreams, are slow and visual, a movement of images without narrative, without tension. You wonder briefly, without urgency, what they are dreaming. And then you release the wondering. It is their dreaming. It is none of your concern. The snow outside. Still receiving the new snow wherever the snow is falling. Still covering everything, patiently, in its particular blue-white, its particular quiet color. The snow does not sleep. The snow accumulates through the night while everything else sleeps, adding to itself, adding to itself, making the world a little wider, a little smoother, a little more uniform by morning. By morning, the snow will be deeper. By morning, you will not know that. By morning, you will be in a different place in the dark of sleep, a place the snow cannot reach. The pines now. The dark, heavy shape of the pine forest on both sides of the track, the trees so close that their branches nearly reach the train, the snow on the branches catching the ambient light for a moment as the train passes, and then releasing it. The sound is slightly different in the pines. You know this. You have been through pine and birch and open plains so many times tonight that your body knows the difference without your mind having to catalog it. The pine sound is lower. The birch sound is cleaner. The open plain sound is the fullest, most resonant, the wheel sound going out in all directions and coming back from nothing. The pines. Lower. Muffled. Your chest rises. Falls. The berth is warm. The blanket is heavy. Your hands are somewhere on your chest, perhaps, or at your sides, the not knowing no longer a thing you notice, because not knowing where your hands are is a late development in the body's release of itself, a sign of how far the body has come from the tense, arranged, upright person you were before you boarded and put your bag on the rack and sat on the edge of the berth and felt the train begin to move. That person is very far away. You have been horizontal for many hours now. You have been warm for many hours. The train has been carrying you for many hours. The hours. You do not know how many. The blanket knows. The frost knows. The samovar knows. You do not need to know. There is a long section of open step. You know it by the way the sound opens, the wheel sound going out freely on both sides, nothing to receive it and return it, the track running across a flatness that extends in every direction further than the light from the train can reach. The sky is slightly lighter here than at the tree-line, the lighter sky of an open place where there are no trees to darken the horizon. You can see a little further, the snow running flat and almost luminous in whatever faint light there is, the surface even unbroken, reaching out to where the sky starts. A very long way, in all directions, just flat, just snow, just the track running through it. The track is a thin line across an enormous plain, and the train is a thin line of warmth and light and sound moving along the track, and you are inside the train, inside the warmth, inside the sound, inside the blanket, inside the berth, inside the night. Inside. Very inside. The step goes on. You breathe. Something passes at great distance, a vehicle, perhaps, its lights very small and moving slowly across the plain far from the track, moving in a direction that is neither the train's direction nor opposite to it, but at some angle, a different purpose, a different destination, a different night. The lights are orange, very small, going somewhere. And then they are behind you and the step is empty again. The step. Empty. White. Silent. Moving past. The wheel sound in the empty step is the purest version of itself, not muffled by trees, not modified by the acoustic presence of anything near. Just the sound going straight out across the snow, diminishing, disappearing. You hear it clearly. You hear it without hearing it, which is different from simply hearing it, which is what happens when a sound has been present long enough to stop being foreground and become the texture of the world itself. This sound is the texture of the world. This warmth is the texture of the world. This dark is the texture of the world. In. Out. In. The step gives way to birch. Of course it does. Birch and then open again, and then pine, and then birch again. The night has a grammar, and the grammar is this: forest, open, with the rails running through both without preference. The rails running through both. Without preference. You have been running through the night without preference now for many hours. No preference between sleeping and not sleeping, between the birch sound and the pine sound, between the birch and the pine. The train's lack of preference has become your lack of preference. The train's patience has become your patience. The lower passenger breathes. In, out. Their patience, too. All the same patience. All the same dark, all the same warmth, all the same sound. All the three of you breathing in this small warm compartment while the fourth berth is empty and the world goes past the window without ever stopping, without ever asking anything. You drift. Not away from anything. Not toward anything. Just drift. The way something light drifts in water when there is no current and no wind, no direction it needs to go, moving in very small ways that don't add up to any one direction. Your attention drifts. A moment of the compartment ceiling, dark and close. A moment of the wheel sound. A moment of nothing identifiable, just the warmth, just the weight, just the breath. In, a moment. Out, another moment. The moments do not connect. They are not a story. They are not building to anything. They simply occur and dissolve, one after another, the way the landscape dissolves. Birch, open, pine, open, birch again, none of it accumulating into a destination. The smell of the wool, a moment. The sound of the rails, a moment. The weight of the blanket, a long moment. The weight of your own body, a very long moment. You are heavy. Heavy in the warm way. Heavy with release. Heavy with the particular gravity of a body that has finally set down what it was carrying. The body does not feel heavy. The body feels like the natural weight of everything, the way rocks and water feel their weight without complaint, without even noticing it, the weight simply being what is. You are the weight that you are. In this berth, under this blanket, in the warmth. The train carries the weight. The train carries everything. The train carries you. A long, slow breath in. A very long, slow breath out. And then the pause at the bottom. The pause. The pause where nothing is moving, not the breath, not the thought, not the attention. Just the warmth, just the rails, just the sound, just the dark. The pause. And then in. Slowly. The frost at the window corners. Still growing. You cannot see it. Your eyes have been closed for a long time. But you know it is there. The crystals are larger now than they were when the night was young. The lacework is denser. The cold at the edges of the glass has been slowly claiming more of the pain, very slowly, working inward from the corners where the seal is thinnest, building its intricate structures in the dark while you were becoming horizontal, becoming warm, becoming this. The frost grows. You breathe, both at their own pace. The frost's pace is very slow. The frost has no hurry. A crystal growing at the edge of a glass at -20 degrees in the Siberian winter has no hurry. It grows by the conditions around it, by the temperature and the moisture and the slow chemistry of cold, at exactly the pace those conditions allow and no faster. The frost has no other speed. You have no other speed right now. You grow into sleep at the pace this night allows. No faster, no slower. Just the pace of the night, the pace of the rails, the pace of your own breathing as it finds its level and stays there. In, out, still. The tea glass on the shelf below the window. Cold now, certainly. The tea that was warm when you poured it has been cold for several hours. The glass sits in its metal holder, the metal holder designed for exactly this, for holding a glass steady on a moving train so the tea does not spill, so the glass stays where you put it even when the train leans into a curve. even when the wheels go over a rough joint in the track. The holder does its job. The glass stays. The cold tea. Still. Everything still. The train goes on. And on. And on. Through the birch. Through the open. Through the pine. The corridor outside the compartment door. The thin stripe of blue-white light underneath it. That light has been there since the corridor lamps dimmed to night mode. It is the only light in the compartment now, the only indication that outside this warm, dark box there is a corridor, and beyond the corridor other compartments, and beyond those the ends of the car, and beyond those the vestibule and the connection to the next car, and so on down the length of the train, car after car connected to car, each one warm, each one carrying its sleeping people through the dark. The thin stripe of light, blue-white, not moving. You have not seen it move in many hours. It simply lies there on the floor and does nothing, and this is exactly what it should do. This is its only job, to be there so the attendant can walk without turning anything on. The attendant does not need to walk right now. No one needs anything right now. The light lies there, still, blue-white, the deepest part of the night, or what feels like the deepest part. The part that is most purely itself, most purely dark, most purely still, most purely cold outside and warm inside. The part that has shed everything temporary and kept only the essential. The essential. The train. The rails. The snow. The dark. The warmth. Your breath. These things. Nothing else. A long curve begins, one of the long, gradual curves this landscape makes, the kind that takes the train through several degrees of arc over what must be a kilometer or more of track, so gradual it is more felt than seen. Your body registers it as a slight sustained lean, a gentle pressure against the outside wall of the berth, the world tilting a degree and holding. And in the lean, a moment where you can see, through the window, the shape of the train ahead of yours, the lit windows of the carriages ahead, each one amber, each one the same amber, repeated down the length of the train, bending away in the long curve until the windows are not individual anymore, but a string of light, a curve of warmth, disappearing into the dark ahead. Someone in each of those windows is where you are. Horizontal, warm, in a berth, under a blanket, being carried. The train full of this. And then the curve ends and the windows disappear and there is only the snow again, flat and white and going on. The snow. Going on. Your breath. Going on. The rails. Going on. In. Out. In. The warmth. Your hands. Warm. Your feet. Warm. Your face. Warm. Everything warm. Everything still. Everything going on without you, in the way it always goes on without you, and will always go on without you, and has always been going on without you even when you were not lying here in a berth in Siberia being carried west in the dark. The going on does not need you. You can rest. You are resting. In. Out. A sound from somewhere in the train. Very distant, from many cars ahead, or many cars behind. A sound that travels through the coupled carriages and arrives here much diminished, too diminished to identify. Not a loud sound. Not an alarming sound. A sound that is the ordinary sound of a train carrying ordinary sleeping people through an ordinary Siberian night. One of the many small sounds that a long train makes as it breathes and flexes and crosses the hours. The sound arrives. The sound dissolves. The train continues. Your body noted it without waking. The lower passenger did not move. The other passenger did not move. The attendant did not wake. Nothing needed waking for. Nothing ever needs waking for on this train, on this night. The train makes its sounds, and the night makes its cold, and the snow makes its white, and the rails make their rhythm, and none of it asks anything of you. Nothing asks anything. You are released from the asking. Completely. Deeply. In this berth. Under this blanket. In the warmth. In. Out. Very. Slow. The birch trees flash past the window. White. Very white. In the dark. You know this without opening your eyes. You know the birch is there the way you know the warmth is there, by the fact of it, by the night having taught you the pattern so thoroughly that the pattern has become the world and the world has become the pattern. Birch. Snow. Rails. Dark. Warmth. Breath. These are all there is. These are everything. An hour passes, or something that might be an hour. You have no way to know. It passes the way this whole night has passed, without marker, without announcement, without anything to distinguish the end of it from its middle or its beginning. Just the dark, just the sound, just the warmth, just the rails, just the snow, and then more of all of those things, and then more still, and the passing happens inside all of that without being separate from it. The hour passes, and another. The frost continues to grow at the corners of the glass. The samovar continues to hiss at the end of the car. The lower passenger continues to breathe. The other passenger continues to breathe. You continue to breathe. The train continues. All of it continuing. All of it patient. All of it asking nothing. A frozen lake appears on the right side. Wide and flat and white, its surface indistinguishable from the snow-covered steppe except for a quality of completeness. The perfect flatness of water that froze in stillness before the snow fell. The far shore is very far away. The darkness absorbs it before it becomes visible. There is only the near edge, where the ice begins, and then the white, and then the dark that contains the far shore somewhere inside it. Very wide, very flat, very white. The train runs along its shore for a while, not along the very edge, but close enough that the lake is the dominant thing outside the window, displacing the forest and the steppe. A wide presence. A cold, still, enormous presence. And then it ends. The treeline comes back. Birch again. The forest closing around the track again. The sound closing in. The familiar sound. The warmth the same. The blanket the same. Your breath the same. In. Out. Everything the same. Everything still. Everything going on. You are not quite asleep. Or you are asleep, and there is a thin surface of yourself still present in the compartment, still registering the sound of the rails and the warmth of the blanket and the breathing of the other passengers. The very surface of yourself. A very thin surface. Everything below the surface is gone. Everything below the surface is somewhere else entirely, somewhere the train cannot follow, somewhere the dark of Siberia cannot follow, somewhere the frost and the snow and the cold cannot follow. Somewhere warm and formless and without the sound of rails, or with the sound of rails so thoroughly incorporated that it is no longer rails. It is just the continuous note of everything. The continuous note of everything. You breathe. You may be breathing in your sleep. The lower passenger breathes. They are definitely breathing in their sleep. The other passenger breathes. The attendant at the end of the car breathes. The train breathes. A long, slow, continuous breath. Steam from the engine. The samovar. The warmth recirculating through the car. All of it breathing. In. Out. In. The birch. The snow. The dark. The rails. In. Out. In. A small sound. Very small. The tea glass settling in its holder as the train passes over a brief rough section of track. A faint clink of glass and metal, almost not a sound at all, there and gone before it resolves. The glass settles back. The holder holds it. The tea is cold. You heard it. Or the surface of you that is still here heard it. And then it was gone. And the train was the same train. And the snow was the same snow. And the berth was the same berth. And the blanket was the same blanket. Heavy. Warm. At your chin. At your feet. All the way. The warmth at your chin. The warmth at your feet. The warmth everywhere between. In. Out. The snow. The rails. The dark. The samovar. Still. Hissing. Softly. At the end of the car. Still. The night carries. The train carries. The warmth carries. You are being carried. This is the last thing you know before knowing becomes something that happens to a different version of you. The version that will wake in the morning in this berth with the frost heavier on the glass and the light outside changed to a low gray winter light and the compartment smelling of the night and the sound of the rails still going on, still the same rails, still the same sound. But that is morning. That is a very long way. Between here and morning is the rest of the night, and the rest of the night is dark and warm and continuous and patient and full of snow and rails and birch and the breathing of your fellow passengers and the distant hissing of the samovar. Full, deeply full, and going on, in the rails, out the dark, in the snow, out the warmth, in the blanket, out the birch, in white, out the rails, in going on, out in the samovar, out softly, in still, out the snow, in white, out still, in the train, out the train, in still, out carrying, in you, out through the dark, in through the snow, out through all of it, in all, out the way through, in all the way, out through, in the warmth, out there, in always, out there, in warm, out snow, birch, rails, warmth, breath, snow, the samovar, rails, warm, snow, birch, still, rails, warm, breath, still, snow, still, warm, still, breath, in, still, out, still, in, still, warm, still, the train, still, going, still, on, still, through, still, snow, still, warm, still, you, still, here, in, still, out, still, in, still, out, still, the snow, the dark, the warmth, the breath, the rails, still, all, still, going on, still, all of it, still, going on, still, through the night, still, on, still, on, still, through, the train goes on. It has always been going on. It was going on before you boarded, before you crossed the platform in the cold with your bag and your ticket and your coat buttoned against the winter air. It was going on before this night. The Trans-Siberian Railway has been going on for more than a century, in every season, through every kind of weather, through years of everything. It goes on in the way that very old things go on, without announcing itself, without explaining itself, simply doing the thing it has always done, carrying people through the dark, through the snow, through the cold. You are one of the people it carries tonight. One of many, in one of the cars, in one of the berths, warm under your blanket, your eyes closed, your breath slow. You are exactly where you should be. You are exactly what the train is designed to carry. The berth is the right size. The blanket is the right weight. The sound of the rails is the right sound for where you are and what is happening to you. Everything right. Everything fitting. Everything exactly as it should be. In. Out. The snow. The dark. The rails. The other passengers breathe beside you and below you, each in their own rhythm, each in their own place in sleep, and the rhythms are not the same, but they are compatible. They do not conflict. They simply coexist in the warm air of the compartment. Two slow rhythms sharing the same space, the way two rivers join without either one losing itself. You breathe. Your rhythm. The compartment holds all three. Your warmth. Their warmth. The berth's warmth. The blanket's warmth. All of it mixed together now, indistinguishable, one warmth. You are inside it. Completely inside it. The taiga goes on outside the window. The great Siberian forest, birch and pine and larch stretching north from the railway in every direction further than any photograph has ever captured completely, further than you can imagine, further than the train's light reaches by several orders of magnitude. The train moves through the very southern edge of it, or the western edge, or somewhere in the middle. You have no way to know which, and it makes no difference. The taiga does not care where its edge is. The taiga is simply what it is. Trees and snow and cold and more trees. An enormity of trees, silent in the winter night. The train passes through the southern edge. The trees are there. They do not notice. You breathe. A birch tree at the very edge of the embankment passes so close to the window that its trunk is briefly visible as a single clear shape, white bark, very close, vertical, there and gone before you can hold it. For a fraction of a second, in the light from the train's windows, you might have seen the individual marks on the bark, the dark flecks that birch bark carries. You did not see them. The fraction of a second was too short. But the tree was there. The tree was there. Is there. Behind you now. The taiga is full of trees like that one. Trees that the train has passed for a century. Trees that were there before the railway and will be there after it. Trees that have no relationship to the train except that the train happens to pass very near some of them, every day, in both directions, forever. The tree. Behind you now. The next tree. Behind you now. The snow between the trees. Behind you now. All of it going on. Behind you now. Ahead of you now. The same either way. In. Out. In. The compartment is very quiet. Inside the sound, inside the warmth, inside the rhythm of the train. Very quiet. The kind of quiet that accumulates over hours. You can hear the lower passengers breathing with perfect clarity, each inhale, each exhale, each slight pause between them. You can hear the very soft sound of the blanket against the berth as you breathe, the fabric moving almost imperceptibly with your chest. You can hear the creak of the carriage frame somewhere above you, a very soft creak, intermittent, at no particular interval, just the natural sound of a structure flexing as it crosses the land. These sounds, very near. The wheels sound behind them, below them, all around them. Very far, both at the same time, near and far, quiet and constant. Something you remember, arriving at the station. The station was lit brightly. Bright in a way that is already a long time ago now, a brightness that belongs to a different version of this night. The version before the birth, before the blanket, before the sound of the rails had settled into your body. The station's lights were white and bright, and there were people on the platform, figures in coats, the breath of winter visible around each of them. A cart of luggage. A clock on the station wall that you glanced at, but the time of which you can no longer recall. You cannot recall the time. You cannot recall most of it. The station is a different country now. A country called before the train, and you are in the country called on the train, and the border between them was the moment the platform slid backward and the dark took its place, and that border was hours ago. The bright station. Gone. The clock on the station wall. Gone. The figures on the platform with their visible breath. Gone. What is here? The birth, the blanket, the sound, the warmth, the snow, the dark, the rails, the passengers breathing beside you. Only this. Only what is here. In. Out. The warmth. In. The rails. Out. In. Out. The sound of the train fills the space where the memory was. The sound of the train fills all spaces. There is no space left in you that is not filled with the sound of the train and the warmth of the blanket and the slow passage of your breath. Full. Warm. Carried. Another river. The bridge sound, the hollow resonance of the wheels on the bridge structure, the slightly different quality of the sound above water rather than above ground, the brief sense of openness and then closure as the bridge passes, as the ground comes back, as the sound seals up again into the ordinary rail sound. A river, running beneath its ice, dark and cold and moving. You felt the bridge and let it go. The river is behind you now, running toward wherever it runs, carrying its cold water through the Siberian winter toward some confluence or some sea that is none of your concern. The river does what rivers do. The train does what trains do. You do what you are doing, which is breathing, which is being warm, which is lying here with the blanket heavy at your chin and your eyes closed, and the sound of the rails very deep and very patient in your chest. The river. Behind you. The snow. Ahead. Always ahead. The snow is always ahead on this crossing, filling all the space the train moves through, covering the ground and the frozen rivers and the rooftops of the stations and the branches of the birch and the branches of the pine. Everywhere the train will go tonight and tomorrow and the day after, all of that covered in the same snow, the same blue-white, the same patient accumulation. You move through it. Or the train moves through it, and you move through it inside the train, which is not the same as moving through it directly, which means the snow never touches you, which means the cold never reaches you, which means you are warm while the snow is around you in every direction. Warm. Inside. The snow outside. The warmth inside. You inside the warmth. In. Out. The lower passenger breathes. You breathe. The Samovar hisses. The train goes on. The hours of deepest night. The hours that have no name in most languages because they are usually passed in sleep, because a person who is awake in them is usually awake involuntarily, awake in the hard way that is the opposite of this. But there is another kind of being in these hours, a kind you are in right now, not quite awake, not quite asleep, the edge of yourself still present in the compartment while the rest of you has gone elsewhere. And this kind of being in the deep hours is not hard at all. It is very easy. It is the easiest thing. The birth, the blanket, the sound, the warmth, the breath. All easy. All requiring nothing. A station passes. You register it as a change in the quality of light through your eyelids, a brief warmth, orange and dim, the sodium lamps of a small station, and then it is gone, and the dark is the same dark, and the train has not slowed. And the station is already many kilometers behind you. The station did not stop the train. The train did not stop for the station. You did not stop for the station. Nothing stops. Everything continues. You breathe. The compartment. Warm. Dark. The frost at the corners of the glass. Still. Growing. Very slow. The tea glass. Still. In its holder. The attendant. Somewhere. At the end of the car. Asleep. Or nearly. Or keeping her own gentle watch. It does not matter which. The car is in her care. The passengers are in her care. You are in her care, and in the train's care, and in the rail's care, and in the night's care, and in the warmth's care. Cared for. In every direction. Cared for. In. Out. In. The birch. White. In the dark. The pines. Dark. In the dark. The open snow. White. In the dark. All of it. Cycling. The same cycle. The same night. Still going on. You in the middle of it. Warm. Still. Carried. Your body is very heavy now. This is not the heaviness of discomfort. This is the heaviness of a body that has set down every optional task, every held tension, every maintained position, and kept only what is essential: the breath, the heartbeat, the warmth. The body in this state feels heavy because it is completely itself, undivided, not trying to be anywhere or anything other than what it is. A body in a berth. A body under a blanket. A body breathing. Heavy. Good heavy. The heaviness that sleep makes, the heaviness that means you are almost there, the heaviness that is the last thing before there is no heaviness, because there is no feeling of the body at all, because you have gone below the level at which the body reports to you, below the level at which anything reports to you. Almost there. Very close. The birch goes past. White. The rails. Patient. The warmth. There. Always there. In. Out. In. Very slow. Very still. The train carrying you through all of it. Through all of Siberia. Through all of the snow. Through all of the dark. Through all of the birch and pine and open plain. Through all of the frozen rivers and frozen lakes and small stations and villages with their orange windows. Through all of it. Still. Carrying you. Still. West. Still. Through the night. Still. Through the snow. Still. You. Still. Warm. Still. Here. Still. Breathing. Still. In. Still. Out. Still. In. Still. The train. Still. Carrying. Still. 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 Carrying you. Still. Through. In. Still. Out. Still. In. The warmth. Out. The snow. In. The dark. Out. The rails. In. Still. Out. Still. In. Still. 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 Warm. Still. Carried. Still. Through. The night. Still. The snow. Still. White. Still. The rails. Still. On. Still. On. Still. On. In. Out. In. Warm. Carried. Still. Through. The night is very long. This is known. The night in winter at this latitude is very long, much longer than the night in summer, much longer than the night in more southerly places. The dark comes early and stays late. It covers more hours than the light does. The people who live here know this and arrange their lives around it, and in summer when the light returns they arrange themselves differently, and this cycling back and forth is the deep rhythm of the place, the rhythm that the taiga knows and the rivers know and the snow knows. You are inside this rhythm now, the rhythm of the long winter dark. Inside it, being carried through it. The berth holds you. The blanket holds you. The warmth holds you. The train holds all of it. A birch forest again, on both sides. The trunks white. The branches bare. The snow between the trunks lying undisturbed. No footprints, no tracks. Nothing to have crossed this snow tonight. An undisturbed white between the white trunks. The forest floor perfectly smooth, perfectly covered, perfectly still. Nothing has crossed this snow tonight, except the train. The train crosses everything. You breathe. In. The birch. Out. The snow. In. The dark. Out. In. The birch gone now. Pine. Or open. You are not certain. It does not matter. The sound of the train tells you everything you need to know, which is, the train is still going. The rails are still there. The night is still the night. The warmth is still the warmth. You are still here. Still. In. Out. Your eyelids are very heavy. Not the heavy of fighting sleep. You are long past fighting anything. The heavy of being very far down, very inside, at the place where consciousness has released all but the very thinnest connection to the world. A thread of hearing, a thread of warmth, a thread of the slow motion of breath. 3 threads, very thin. Going on, the samovar. At the end of the car, still hissing, very faint. The attendant near it, warm at her post, watching her instruments, or sleeping lightly, or somewhere in between. She has made this crossing many times. She knows the sound of a train running well in the night. She knows the sound of passengers sleeping. She is keeping her gentle watch. You are in her watch. You are safe in her watch. The night is holding you, and she is holding the night, and the rails are holding the train, and the snow is holding the rails, and the whole enormous, cold, quiet continent is holding all of it. Holding. Everything holding everything. You inside. Warm. In. Out. In. The lower passenger breathes. One long, slow inhale. One long, slow exhale. The pause. Long. Another inhale. Very slow. You match toward it. Your own inhale very slow. Your own exhale very long. Your own pause. Long. In. Out. The pause. The pause. In. Out. The snow. The rails. The warmth. The dark. The breath. In. Out. In. Out. In. The birch. White. Out. The dark. Still. In. The warmth. Still. Out. The rails. Still. In. Still. Out. Still. In. Still. Out. Still. The train. Still going. Still through the snow. Still through the dark. Still carrying you. Still. Through. Still. On. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. Snow. Rails. Warm. In. Out. In. The blanket. Heavy. Warm. The berth. Warm. Still. The dark. Still. The snow. Still. White. Still. The rails. Still. On. In. Out. In. Out. Still. Warm. Still. Carried. still, through the night, still, through the snow, still, through, all the way, still, through, all the way, warm, through, all the way, in, out, in, still, out, still, in, still, out, still, warm, still, carried, still, the train, on, still, through, in, still, out, in, out, on, the snow, white, still, the dark, still, the warmth, still, you, still, breathing, still, in, still, out, still, in, still, out, still, warm, still, in, out, still. The birch trees pass. They have been passing for the whole night, the white trunks flashing at the edge of the window's light, each one there for less than a second before it is behind you, and the next one is there, and then behind you too. There is no counting them. There is no reason to count them. The birch trees of the taiga are not countable things. They simply are, and the train passes through them, and they are there. You are part of the passing. Not the trees passing, you pass. You are the one moving through the trees, not the trees moving past you. This is a question of perspective that the body knows even when the mind has let go of it. Your body is in motion. The trees are still. The snow is still. The land is still. You and the train are what move. Moving. Through the still. Through the white. Through the dark. Through the patient cold. You breathe. The compartment holds you. The berth holds you. The train holds you. The rails hold the train. The land holds the rails. And the land is held by the planet. And the planet is held by its own gravity. And you're held by all of it, by every layer of holding, all the way down to the center of the earth, which is hot, which has always been hot, which will be hot long after any particular night or any particular crossing is over and forgotten. The center is hot. You are warm. The connection between these things is not one you need to think about. It is enough to know it. It is enough to be warm. In, out, in, the snow, still there. The dark, still there. The rails, still going on. The wheel sound, still. Your breath, still. In, out, in. The lower passenger does not move. They have not moved in a very long time. They are very deep in their sleep, in the particular stillness of a body that has given itself over completely, not a tense stillness, not a held stillness, but a released stillness, a gone-away stillness. The stillness of someone who is no longer here in the ordinary sense, who has gone somewhere that the train cannot follow. Their breath rises, falls, rises, falls, very slowly. You match it, or your breath matches it on its own, the way bodies in proximity find each other's rhythms without being asked to. Your breath and their breath, synchronized now or very nearly, both slow, both deep, both coming from a place that is very far below ordinary alertness. The two of you breathing together, in the dark, on the train, in, out, in, out, in, the samovar, still, hissing, very soft, at the end of the car, the attendant, keeping her watch, the car, warm, the compartment, warm, the berth, Warm. The blanket. Heavy. Warm. You. Warm. Here. In. Out. In. Out. The birch. White. The snow. White. The dark. Still. The rails. Still going on. The train. Still carrying. You. Still here. Still warm. Still breathing. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. The frost. At the corners. Still growing. Very slow. In the cold. In the dark. Growing. Very slow. The tea glass. Still. In its holder. Cold. Still. The corridor light. Thin stripe. Blue-white. Under the door. Still. Not moving. The night. Still. Not ending. Not yet. Not for a long time yet. The night is still deep, still dark, still full of snow and birch and rails, and the sound of the train and the warmth of the compartment, and the breathing of the passengers, and the hissing of the samovar. Full, deep, dark, warm. The night holds everything, and the train carries everything, and the rails hold the train, and the snow holds the land, and you are held. Inside all of it. Held. Warm. In. Out. In. The birch. Still. White. The dark. Still. Deep. The rails. Still. On. In. Out. In. Out. Still. 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 In. Still. Out. Still. In. Still. Out. Still. Warm. Still. Carried. Still. Through. Still. The snow. Still. White. Still. The dark. Still. Deep. Still. The train. Still. On. Still. In. Still. Out. Still. In. Still. Out. Still. 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 Warm. Still. Here. Still. In. Still. Out. Still. In. Still. Out. Still. The train. Still. On. Still. On. Still. Through. Still. Through. Still. The snow. Still. White. Still. Warm. Still. Here. Still. In. Still. Out. Still. In. Still. Out. Still. 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 In. Still. Out. Still. In. Still. Out. Still. The warmth. Still. The breath. Still. The rails. Still. On. Still. On. Still. On. Still. The cold outside. Very cold. The kind of cold that makes the air itself feel crystalline, that silences the birds and keeps the animals deep in their dens and covers everything in a stillness that is not emptiness, but fullness, full of cold, full of dark, full of the long patience of winter. The cold is outside. You are inside. The cold cannot reach you. The train cannot be cold. The train is warm by design, warm by the work of its heating systems and the warmth of all the bodies it carries, warm in the same way a home is warm, by the careful keeping of warmth against the cold outside. You are in this warmth. You have been in this warmth for many hours. You will be in it until morning, until the gray winter light returns and the birch trees become visible against a pale sky and the snow begins to show its color, which is not white, but every color at once, the way snow always contains all colors when the light returns to it. But that is morning. Morning is a long way. Right now there is only the dark and the warmth and the breath and the rails. The rails. The rails. The rails going on. Your breath going on. The warmth going on. Everything going on. In. Out. In. The train. On. Still. On. In. The birch. White. Out. The snow. White. In. The dark. Still. Out. The warmth. Still. In. The breath. Still. Out. The rails. Still. On. In. Still. Out. Still. In. Still. Out. Still. The train. Carrying you. Still. Through. All of it. Still. Through. All the way. Still. Through. The night. Still. Through the snow. Still. Warm. Still. Here. Still. Carried. Still. In. Still. Out. Still. In. Still. The train. Still. On. Still. On. The pine forest on both sides. Dense. Dark. The snow on the pine boughs heavy and still. The branches bowed slightly under what they carry. Not breaking. Just bowed. Holding. The way everything holds on a night like this. The boughs hold the snow holds the cold holds the dark holds the night, and the night holds everything inside it that is warm, the trains, the villages, the sleeping bodies, the fires in the stoves, the hot water in the samovar at the end of the car. All of it held. Inside the dark. Inside the cold. Inside the pine forest. You breathe. The forest passes. Open step again briefly. The sound opening. And then birch again. And the sound closing slightly. And then open again. The pattern. Always the pattern. The same pattern it has been since the station fell away behind you, since the platform disappeared and the dark took over, since you lay down in this berth and pulled the blanket over yourself and let the train begin to carry you. Hours ago. Many hours ago. The pattern has been going since then. Forest. Open. Forest. Open. Rails. Dark. Snow. Warmth. Breath. In. Out. It will go on like this. It has always been going on like this. It will be going on like this when the gray of dawn begins at the edge of the sky, a very pale gray, barely different from the dark, easy to miss if you are asleep, which you will be. You will be asleep when dawn comes. You will be somewhere the dawn cannot reach yet. Somewhere very warm. Somewhere very still. Somewhere the rails are a sound so far back in your awareness that they have become the floor of everything, the ground beneath the ground, the thing the world rests on. Somewhere. Inside. Warm. In. Out. The samovar. Still. Very faint. Still. Hissing. Still. At the end of the car. Still. The passengers breathing. Still. Slow. Still. The frost at the corners. Still. Growing. Still. Very slow. Still. The berth. Still. Warm. Still. The blanket. Still. Heavy. Still. Warm. Still. You. Still. Here. Still. Warm. Still. Breathing. Still. In. Still. Out. Still. In. Still. Out. Still. The train. Still. On. Still. On. Still. Through. Still. The snow. Still. White. Still. The dark. Still. Deep. Still. The rails. Still. on, still, in, still, out, still, in, still, out, still, still, in, still, out, still, warm, still, here, still, on. The long hours. The very long hours of the Siberian winter night. There are more of them than there are of daylight hours at this time of year at this latitude. Many more. The dark is the majority here. The light is the visitor. Right now, at whatever hour this is, the light is very far away, far below the horizon in every direction, hours from returning. Hours. Many hours. And all of those hours filled with the same dark and the same snow and the same sound of the rails and the same warmth of the compartment and the same breath of the passengers and the same hissing of the samovar at the end of the car. Hours and hours of the same, which is not the same as emptiness. The same as fullness. The same is exactly what is needed. The same as the snow and the rails and the dark and the warmth and your breath going in and your breath going out. All the same, all going on, all patient, all requiring nothing, all asking nothing. All simply being what they're in the dark and the cold in the warmth of this compartment on this train crossing Siberia in winter. In, out, the same. Going on. The same. Still. In. Still. Out. Still. In. Still. Out. Still. The train. Still. The snow. Still. The warmth. Still. You. Still. In. Still. Out. Still. In. Still. Out. Still. Still. On.